Hi, how's everybody doing? I just wanted to do a video on a lot of stuff I'm seeing lately in the field on equipment that's installed, not being installed properly. And I kind of wanted to do a video to show homeowners and building owners and facility managers and things like that of things that they should be looking for, um, just to see if their stuff is being installed correctly, all their equipment. Um, because, like I said, I've seen a lot of jobs where uh, the equipment is good equipment, it's just not installed properly, and that causes a lot of issues. So I'm gonna go through it here, just show you some stuff on a residential job I did about 10 years ago, um, just to kind of show proper techniques and kind of standards in the industry of what you should be looking for to know that your stuff is installed properly. Um, so here it goes. Okay, this is a furnace and air conditioner, along with a tankless hot water heater. Okay, I'm going to go through some of the stuff you should be looking for. Um, First off, you can see how everything's kind of nice and plumb, and not totally plumb, but like the refrigerant line's a little crooked there, but that's just kind of how it came in the building. Um, but look how the pipes coming out of the furnace are nice and straight and plumb. Uh, Here I have an outlet, a convenience outlet here. There's actually the on-off switch for the furnace is right there. That is something that I see a lot of times is missing, especially on when you do a change out on an existing furnace. That service switch should be somewhere in the vicinity where if you have to have somebody come and work on your furnace, there should be a service switch there at somewhere at the furnace close by where they can shut it off. Um, I put that here so if I had to run a condensate pump into the future, or just so you have power there, um, you can have something somewhere to plug in. Piece of conduit going down to the furnace. There's Romex cable running down this conduit into here, something to protect the high voltage wire coming out of the outlet box. This is armored cable, so that if somebody hits this with anything, that it doesn't cause an electrocution, coming into the furnace here. These are all low voltage. This is thermostat wiring and condenser wiring going out to the air conditioner and humidifier, and I think that's the temperature sensor for this furnace. Duct work is all sealed, around the top of it. See how nice it looks, nice and clean, and it's not all, just slapped on there, done with care. The joints, all the ductwork is sealed. It's not all over the place. Kind of try and do it on nice, straight, even lines. On natural gas, a drip leg. Okay, I see so many furnaces, hot water tanks that are installed with no drip leg. A shutoff valve. Notice the shutoff valve, it's up here where kids can't touch it and stuff because this is a basement and everything. But you can shut it off, and then if you have to do work on this furnace, say remove a gas valve or something, the shut off is there, and then there's a union right here, and you can disconnect it and actually work on the piece of equipment. And people realize down the road that if this stuff is harder to service, say if something does have a problem with this furnace down the road, and you have to actually, once it's out of warranty, you actually have to pay for parts and materials and everything like that. If it's harder for the technician to do his job, it's going to take longer and it's going to cost you more money. So if stuff is installed correctly and done with some care and thought, it will actually save you money in the long run. As you can see here too, drip leg on this tankless water heater. Right here on the pressure relief valve, there's a down pipe going to the floor. I see so many hot water tanks with a pressure relief valve on them and no pipe coming out of the pressure relief valve. Now, this is not a tank. This is a tankless. But on an actual hot water tank, this is sticking out the side. This is called a pressure relief valve. So if your tank gets over pressurized, this relieves the pressure and allows water to drip on the floor. Well, that water is scalding hot. So if this valve releases and there's no pipe here, it's just going to spray all over the place. Now, if somebody's standing by that tank, they're going to get burned. That's why you have a pipe. And this is required by code. This isn't just, you just don't put that in there just because you feel like it. You know, the national code requires that. So that's another thing. And drip legs and gas valves and shutoff switches, those are all required by code. So they need to be done. And if they're not getting done when you're paying good money to have a piece of equipment put in, you may want to rethink who you have doing your work and get a company in there that's going to do it right. You know, for this tankless water heater, these are supposed to be flushed once a year. So these are special valves where you can isolate it and you can flush the tank. These aren't required, but I like to put them on anyway. Temperature gauges for, this is the incoming water, and then this is the water coming out, your hot water coming out. So you can kind of see your different temperature gauges. Shut off switch at the hot water heater. This is a plug-in type of tankless water heater. I mean, there is a shut off switch here too, but you can, redundant, you can have have a shut off switch for your main connection. Also notice there's shut off valves. That's another thing I find a lot on boilers and things like that, where there's no valves anywhere to do anything. If they just put a couple extra valves in, you could actually service the equipment correctly. Another thing I find too is that condensate drains. This is 3/4 inch PVC piping. Around here, now like right here, we have a condensate drain coming from this humidifier. This is 3/8 tubing. Okay, now this is fine for a humidifier because this water is running constantly when it's on. But for your air conditioning drains and your condensate drains for the furnace, they should be piped in hard PVC, not this flexible tubing. Because what happens is they get clogged up with dirt and sediment, and over time they plug up, and then you have a big flood because this drain pipe gets all clogged. So that's another thing. It doesn't take any longer to run some PVC and glue it together. You know, this is, you know, quick and easy. You know, takes an extra 10-15 minutes to do it right and run the proper piping. You'll notice down there we have 3/8 tubing coming out and into, there's a hole in the basement floor there. Now that has to be cleaned out all the time because I didn't want to drill a bigger hole there. I probably could have, but so that drain, that tubing right there will get blocked and you got to clean it out. So that's just from experience, you know, that to tell you, I'll let you know, use 3/4 inch PVC piping for drainage. You know, those are just a few things. This is another thing. If you don't see some holes in your ductwork, you can see there's a hole drilled there. There's a hole. I actually did the furnace here, and then you'll see one here. Okay, that's to check your static pressure drop across your filter, and then right here to see what your total static pressure is of the unit when you install it. the guys aren't drilling holes. I'm not saying that you totally have to drill holes in the furnace. I mean, I did this one here because that's just the way to test it for me. But they should be doing proper testing when they start this equipment up. I would say 95, I probably would say more than that. 98% of the jobs I go on for service calls do not have any taps to check pressure on the ductwork on furnaces. 98% of them, I would definitely say. I very rarely ever see it where I can just come and remove a cap and stick my probes in and actually get proper pressures. So that's a requirement to start when you start these furnaces up. You don't know how they're running, how the blower's working along with the ductwork and everything, unless you can take proper testing and you can test it and take proper readings. It's the only way to tell. And what kind of got me on this rant was I went on a service call yesterday, and it was for a friend of ours, and they had a furnace installed by another company about 2 years ago. And it was, you know, there was nothing wrong with the brand. I'm not even going to say the brand of furnace. It was, I'll tell you, it was not a Goodman. It was a, you know, a higher brand furnace. And I found so many things wrong with the installation that I couldn't even do my proper testing. They actually had drilled a hole instead of using the proper hole where the proper grommet and everything to run a gas line into the furnace. They actually drilled a hole in the side of the furnace to run the gas line, where every manufacturer that manufactures a furnace provides proper holes to run the gas line into the furnace. There was no need to drill a hole. Also, all these grommets were missing on the furnace. You know, like I have one here. This is a ream furnace. So all these grommets, gaskets are required so that this furnace runs efficiently and runs correctly. So that this is a sealed combustion furnace, which is also the same as the one I looked at yesterday. And, you know, no outside air piped in, just drawing air from the basement. And it was just lazy. I no drip lag on the gas line. And the problem was actually a gas pressure issue. So the way that they had piped the gas line, I couldn't even get my equipment, you know, to test the gas pressure, the incoming gas pressure into the valve, because they have the incorrect piping, because they had to drill a hole through the side of the unit. So also you can see there's pipe hangers, you know, pipe hangers to hold the pipe up. They should be every, you know, 5 feet or so. You can see one down there, and then I have one here. And on this one, we got a joist here, and then I don't think we did it there because of all the phone line there, so we put a hanger here. But that's the whole thing, to hold this pipe, keep it pitched, okay, because when these furnaces run, they create condensation, so you want the condensation to run back to the furnace and drain out. So many times I get so many calls in the wintertime where these pipes aren't hung correctly and they're sag and the water sits in there and causes wreaks havoc, a whole ton of issues. So this is kind of just my I know it might be a long rant, but I don't know, I just want to point this out to people, this, you know, to let them know that this is the proper way things should be done. I'm not saying I'm you know, this great big master tech, but I mean, I do know, I've been doing this for over 20 years now, and I do know the proper way that stuff should be installed. And a lot of the failures I see with stuff is because stuff just isn't installed properly, and that's what always kind of pisses me off. It gets me fired up when I walk into somebody's house and see a new piece of equipment and it's not running correctly because it wasn't installed correctly. Also, I'm gonna show you something too now on this return. This is another thing I see all the time. Now this one has a April air filter, you know, pleated filter, which are very good. Okay, but if you still have a 1-inch filter, okay, that's fine. I mean, you'd have to upgrade to that. But notice how the return is all sealed to the cabinet all the way around. Okay, so your return air is coming in this way to the furnace, and you want that air to be 100% filtered before it hits this furnace. So I see so many return boots like this and filters and everything where there's a huge giant gap here. So all you're doing is just sucking in air from either wherever it's located, in a basement, a crawl space, a closet. You're sucking in air after the filter, so it's not getting filtered. And that air, all that dirt and everything is winding up going into your furnace. Now, like I said, this furnace is been in over 10 years. It's actually just firing up right now. Now I'll take both covers off here. And I'll show you how clean it is inside. This is what makes a difference. Okay, here's the burner compartment. It looks like brand new in there because it's all sealed. It's burning outside air, not burning any gas or air from the inside the house. You know, there's a little dust in there, but nothing, you know, no crazy dirt or anything like that. And then look at the blower compartment. Okay. Now look at it in here. It looks like brand new because it's been sealed. You can see the filter in there. I don't know if you can or not actually. But the air filter, this is all sealed, so no dirt can get through at all. I mean, look at that. Nothing. That is the big thing that kills furnaces also. Furnaces and air conditioners is dirt. So you want to keep this as clean as you can. So like I seal all the corners. The only hole that is in here is where this condensate drain comes in. This is the only place that dirt can get sucked through because I didn't want to, if I have to clean this drain, you can take it apart and clean it. So that's the only spot where there is any holes in this cabinet. So any dust or anything that gets pulled in, like I said, there's that's not even dust in there. So that's a big thing you want to look at. You know, all our gaps are sealed around the A coil. There's no air leakage around here. Gaskets are in around the coil, all the gasketing here. Silicone up top here, nice and neat to seal out all the gaps. And the joints are all caulked. So then your air is going up to your conditioned space where you want it, not blowing around in the basement or unconditioned space. So that's just a few things to look for. I know this is kind of a long video. It's kind of my rant on bad installations, and I wish that more installers and technicians took more pride in their work and got proper training on testing and how to do their jobs correctly, because you know, you pay a lot of money to have this stuff put into your homes and businesses, and you want it to last. And to make it last, it needs to be installed properly. So that's all I have for today. So thanks for watching, and feel free to give us a call. My name is Rob Dippold. I own RJ Dippold HomeWorks. And when you call me, you'll get me. I'm the one that comes out and does all the work. Whether you need service, installation, second opinion, whatever you need, give me a call and we can talk about it. Or you can hit me up on the internet. I have a website, homeworksheatingandair.com. And hope you enjoyed this, and I hope it educated you a little more on what you're looking for. So have a good one. Thanks.